Hi everyone. I'm going to explain about map projections. Map projection. It is the method of transferring the gratitude of latitude and longitude on a plane surface. It can also be defined as the transformation of spherical network of parallels and meridians on a plane surface. That is two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional feature. And here is this picture shows the development of map projection. This is the true shape of Earth, that is geoid, and we considered it as ellipsoid. Then we reduce the scale of ellipsoid and generate a globe. Then we create map from the globe with the help of map projections. And this picture shows how the map projection works. This is a globe and light put on the equator, and we create map projections with the help of shadow that created by light. Next one is need for map projections. Why we use map projections? As we know that geoid is the true shape of Earth, and globe is a best model for the geoid. But it has some limitations. That limitations leads to the development of projections. And the limitations are it is expensive. The globe is expensive and it can neither be carried everywhere easily nor can a minor detail be shown on it. Besides, on the globe, the meridians are semicircles and the parallels are circles. When they are transferred on a plane surface, they become intersecting straight lines or curved lines. Then, the need for a map projections mainly arise to have a detailed study of a region. And next one is tracing all the properties like shape, size, and directions, etc. from a globe is nearly impossible because the globe is not a developable surface. In map projections, we try to represent a good model of any part of the earth in its true shape and dimension, but distortion in some form or the other is inevitable. To avoid this distortion, various methods have been devised and many types of projections are drawn. Due to this reason, map projection is also defined as study of different methods which have been tried for transferring the lines of graticules from the globe to a flat sheet of paper. Graticule means network of latitudes and longitudes. This is the picture of geoid. Next, projection. A projection is a two-dimensional representation of a three-dimensional surface. Paper maps, web maps, and mapping application represent the Earth in two dimensions and therefore require spatial features on its surface to be projected. Projecting spatial features will always induce distortion either by area, shape, scale, or angle. A perfect three-dimensional scale model of the Earth is the only way to eliminate all distortion types. And this figure shows the how distance on the Earth's surface will be shortened after projecting it onto a two-dimensional plane. The red line shows the Earth's surface and blue line shows the projection plane. 3D into 2D. Okay. Next, coordinate system. Data is defined in both horizontal and vertical coordinate systems. Horizontal coordinate systems locate data across the surface of the Earth, and vertical coordinate system locate the relative height or depth of data. Horizontal coordinate systems can be of three types: geographic coordinate system, projected coordinate system, or local coordinate system. Then, vertical coordinate systems are either gravity based or ellipsoidal. Gravity based vertical coordinate systems reference a mean sea level calculation. Ellipsoidal coordinate systems reference a mathematically derived spheroidal or ellipsoidal volumetric surface. This is the vertical. First one is vertical coordinate system and second picture is ellipsoidal coordinate system. And local coordinate system, which is in horizontal coordinate system, is XYZ plane coordinate system. Next, difference between a geographic coordinate system and projected coordinate system. A geographic coordinate system defines where the data is located on the Earth's surface, and a projected coordinate system tells the data how to draw on a flat surface, like on a paper map or a computer screen. A GCS is round and so records locations in angular unit, that is degree. And a PCS is flat, so it records locations in linear units, that is meters. We can store the data in GCS, but we can't draw it on a flat map without a PCS. The GCS tells the data where to draw, the PCS tells the map how to stretch the GCS out flat. The main difference is where and how. And here is a table that shows the projection, linear unit and option of projected coordinate system and the geographic coordinate system. Second picture is the picture of geographic coordinate system and projected coordinate system. Here we can see the units. GCS is in degree and PCS is in meter. Next one is datums. A datum is a reference frame that enables a system of coordinates to describe positions in three-dimensional space. Consider a perfect sphere as a reference frame, with the sphere centers as the origin of that frame. The sphere has known mathematical model that can describe the position of any point at height h above its surface, as shows in this figure. This is a picture that referencing frame as ellipsoid or spheroid. Red line shows the geoid and black line is the reference frame, that is ellipsoid. Next, elements of map projections. First element is reduced Earth. A model of the Earth is represented by the help of a reduced scale on a flat sheet of paper. This model is called the reduced Earth. This model should be more or less spheroid, having the length of polar diameter lesser than equatorial, and on this model the network of graticule can be transferred. Then parallels or latitudes. These are the circles running around the globe parallel to the equator and maintaining uniform distance from the poles. Next, longitudes or meridians. These are semicircles drawn in north-south directions from one pole to other, and the two opposite meridians make a complete circle, that is circumference of the globe. And the 0-degree longitude is considered as the Greenwich line. Next is global property. In preparing a map projection, the following basic properties of the globe surface are to be preserved by using one or the other methods. First one is distance between any given points of a region. Second, shape of a region. Third, size or area of the region in accuracy. Fourth, direction of any one point of the region bearing to another point. Next, classification of map projections. Map projection varies with the size and location of different area on the Earth's surface. First classification is the following groups of projections have been made according to the quality they preserve. First, equal area projections. Second, correct shape or orthomorphic projections. Third, true bearing or azimuthal projections. Next classification is based on the method of construction, and the subdivision is perspective and non-perspective projections. And third classification is based on the position of tangent surfaces. First subdivision is polar, then equatorial or normal, then oblique projection. Fourth is based on the position of viewpoint or light. First one is mnemonic, second one is stereographic, third one is orthographic, and other projections. Fifth is based on the developed surface used. First one is conical projection, then cylindrical, then azimuthal or zenithal projection, and last one is conventional projections, that is purely based on mathematics. These are the drawings of some commonly used projections. First one is zenithal mnemonic projection for a polar area, then zenithal equidistance for northern hemisphere. Third one is orthographic projections for northern hemisphere. Next, zenithal equal for southern hemisphere, then zenithal stereographic for northern hemisphere. Next, conical projections with one standard for Eurasia. Then conical projections with two standard parallel for USSR. Next, Bones projections for North America. Then polyconic projections for Europe. Then last two projections for cylindrical equal area projection for whole world and cylindrical equidistance projection for whole world. Choosing a proper projections. We have to consider some of factors while we choosing a proper projections for our map. First factor is scale. Choosing the map projections depends largely on the scale of the map, and projection choice is more important for small scale maps. Use of suitable projections for world map is particularly important. For example, distortion in a Mercator projection for a large-scale map of city streets would not be nearly as noticeable as the distortion of landmasses present in a Mercator world map. Second one is size and shape of the area. Different projections should be chosen for area on a north-south versus east-west orientation. For example, a map showing Chile in having north-south orientation would be made with a different projection than a map showing the continental United States or Western Europe that shows east-west orientations. Then location. Longitudinal location of the map area determines what type of projection should be used. For example, a conic projection for areas in the mid-latitudes with east-west extent, an azimuthal projection for displaying polar areas, etc. Then purpose. The intended use of a map should be tied directly to its projection. Before choosing a projection, it is important to consider the objectives of the map users. Possible uses such as navigation, research, and general reference will require different projections. For example, a Mercator projection is best suited for maps intended to be used for navigation, while a Robinson or Molvid projection is better for general reference world maps. Then audience. The sophistication of the map user should be considered when determining the complexity of the projection. For example, an interrupted projection may not be appropriate for young map users because it could greatly confuse them regarding the nature of the earth. In this case, a better option for younger audience would be the Robinson projection since it is more intuitive and simplistic. Next, commonly used GIS projections. First one is Mercator. It is a conformal cylindrical projection tangent to the equator. Originally created to display accurate compass bearing for sea travel. An additional feature of this projection is that all local shapes are accurate and clearly defined. Then transverse Mercator. Similar to the Mercator, except that the cylinder is tangent along a meridian instead of the equator. The result is a conformal projection that minimizes distorting along a north-south line but does not maintain true directions. Next one is Universal Transverse Mercator, that is UTM. Based on a transverse Mercator projection centered in the middle of zones that are 6 degrees in longitude wide. These zones have been created throughout the world. Lambert conformal conic. A conic conformal projection typically intersecting parallels of latitude standard parallels in the northern hemisphere. This projection is one of the best for middle latitudes because distortion is lowest in the band between the standard parallels. It is similar to the Albers conic equal area projection except that the Lambert conformal conic projection portrays shape more accurately than area. Next, state plane. A standard set of projection for the United States based on either the Lambert conformal conic or transverse Mercator projection, depending on the orientation of each state. Large states commonly require several states plane zones. Lambert equal area. An equidistant conic projection similar to the Lambert conformal conic that preserves areas. Albers equal area conic. This conic projection uses two standard parallels to reduce some of the distortion of a projection with one standard parallel. Shape and linear scale distortions are minimized between standard parallels. Here is the picture of Lambert conformal conic Mercator and UN projected latitude and longitude projection. Three projections in one frame. Next, which projection is best? The mathematics of projections do not permit any particular map projections to be best for everything. Something will always be distorted. Thus, many projections exist to serve the many uses of maps and their vast ranges of scales. Modern national mapping systems typically employ a transverse Mercator or close variant for large-scale maps in order to preserve conformality and low variation in scale over small areas. For smaller scale maps, such as those spanning continents or the entire world, many projections are in common use according to their fitness for the purpose, such as Winkel Triple, Robinson, and Mulvey. Reference maps of the world often appear on compromise projections. Due to distortions inherent in any map of the world, the choice of projections becomes largely one of aesthetics. Thematic maps normally require an equal area projection so that phenomena per unit area are shown in correct proportion. However, representing area ratios correctly necessarily distorts shapes more than many maps that are not equal area. This is reference of this seminar, and thank you.